Covering the inside, Mayer does not want to give him the space. He's going to force him the long way around, and he's going to take it, but he's going to go way wide. Is he going to hold the speed up? He's in the grass trying to hold on. Simon Mayer has got the speed, and he is going to take that lead back just as they cross for the win. Is this enough to try and finally get this done into the Descida del Lago? He outbrakes him. He has the inside, but he can't feed it out because there's a car there, and Costa does it again, denying him, but fighting back. Here comes Tolinen, going to be on the outside, coming into the horseshoe. It's hard to try and make it stick the long way around to this one, but he's going to do it anyways. Another right-hander leading into this one. It's just the never-ending side-by-side battle, but he gets a shove from behind. Showed and Holly are now vying for the lead down the backstretch. Look at him all the way to the yellow line. Michaud covering him off. Holly backs it up. He is setting him up. Absolutely. I guarantee you right here. And look at how calm he is. Oh, no.
That's a slowdown.
It certainly is. And off to the bottom of the track. He doesn't have to play any games. Michaud is done for. And he looks in the mirror almost unbelieving of his luck. Here comes Beaufil. Beaufil going to look to the inside, coming into Brundle. Are we going to go three wide potentially? Is Ziti going to try and lift? He is, and they go three wide into the corner. But Luke comes out in front, and a little bit of acceleration at the wrong time for Beaufil. Puts him under threat. Down the inside goes Stetzel, through the bomb hole, and out the other side. Stetzel carries the momentum. Another right-hander now into Corum, and he's back through.
Right on board here with James Holland in that Ninja Trader Esports AM machine. He may have a 2-for-1 going three wide down Kemmel.
How about going to the grass to make it 3 wide, in fact? No one's backing off yet. Doycombe on lap 3. No one's backing off. Horvath now backs it off. Luna nearly squeezes Holland off the track.
Just going to stay together as we get a move to the inside. Levesque trying to defend on Ferguson, and Ferguson fights back out of the corner, almost banging doors as they come around the last turn. Here comes Mies as well, trying to take back some of the positions that he lost as they stay tight to the inside. Overall, the dirt and dust on the track and down into the first corner. We're going to be wheel to wheel, yet still Levesque around the outside. Ferguson, can he get the job done? Yet now he has.
And it's not over yet for the battle for 7th. Harper holding on to the bottom. Soranzo trying to jump past Walker. They crash coming to the final corner. Soranzo and Walker crash down the front stretch. The last cars on the lead lap trying back up down the straightaway. Walker will finish in 8th backwards to close the year.
While the Indy 500 has seen F1 world champions lured over to compete in recent years, this was also true in the era of the Lotus 49. Colin Chapman brought along Hill and Clark in the mid-60s, with each claiming a victory once at the famed track. Will our drivers be able to imitate the feats of some of Europe's greatest racing exports? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ossian Puhaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Famous the world over, Indianapolis needs little introduction for most race fans, but let's head to our track guide to get a closer look at it.
Back home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see our guide around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The first motorsports competition at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway took place in 1909. The track's original surface of crushed stone and tar proved problematic. The owners paved the track with more than 3 million bricks, giving rise to the nickname the Brickyard. Indy isn't known for its banking, with only 9 degrees of banking in all 4 corners. Indy is unique because those 4 corners are individual corners. Each is separated by a short chute. Turn 1, you find yourself battling tunnel vision with the grandstands and pit road on both sides of the track closing in as you're trying to hit your mark. Turn 2 and down the backstretch, the drivers are often facing wind. Turns 3 and 4, also known as the north end of the speedway, flow exactly like turns 1 and 2. Surviving 2 world wars, 10 popes, and older than sliced bread, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is the most historic racing venue in America. Stepping onto the hallowed grounds of Indy, you feel over the 100 years of history. Winning at Indy requires all of the luck, skill, drive, and determination that you have. Many have come to taste the milk and have left empty-handed. The yard of bricks at the start-finish line pays tribute to the original surface. Kissing the bricks at Indianapolis Motor Speedway after your victory has quickly become an Indy tradition. With that being said, that's just scratching the surface of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And when you think about it, all these drivers are just chasing a glass of milk over 3 feet of bricks. It's amazing how those simple things mean so much to so many people. This has been our guide to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Strap on in and enjoy the show.
Well, Ozzy, we've seen Indy cars race here for, well, over 100 years, and NASCAR has been here for a good 25 or so. But seeing these old school Grand Prix cars, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting, especially as today we don't have to worry about Michelin pulling out at the last second. Of course, not Michelin tires here. Indy Oval with the Lotus 49 gonna be a very interesting combination. There's a lot to go wrong here, is what I would say. You have to fight the urge to get too fast. You have to fight the urge to really push it into the corners and try to go for last second overtakes. The draft with this car is very strong, so we'll see a lot of pack racing, a lot of overtaking at the end of the main straight as well as the back straight. And I think the winner is going to be whoever comes out of the last corner second.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to watch that one as we take a look at the race details real quick. And as you'd imagine, we have quite a few laps to do around here, 37 of them here in round 9 out of 12. It is open setup, but iRacing does provide one to our drivers so they can get out there and hopefully be at least somewhat competitive. But I have to imagine with this being an oval, a lot of drivers will be tweaking and fiddling to find some speed. They also have no spare cars, so those concrete walls, even though they've got the safer barrier, are going to be extremely damaging if you make an oopsie and find yourself heading to the outside. In the meantime, we are in the midst of our qualifying. They get 2 laps around here, and Topi Kortiniemi currently has the provisional pole. As we watch them come down for the second lap from most of them, Murakami gets himself up into 5th, and it is changing very quickly, and Bill Tyler finds himself up on the top now.
Yeah, and one thing to watch out for, the numbers are a little bit different than usual because these drivers are now being ranked by their oval iRating instead of their road iRating. So that's why you see drivers like Topi Korteniemi with number 22, Bill Tyler with number 19. Number 1 driver, by the way, Audrius Valenteius, and he is in P number 3 with a 52.915 ahead of Robio and Chris Burakatsami.
And I remember Valenteius coming in and past oval races here in the 49, so not too shocked there. Togo Hisada, who actually was leading in one of the practice sessions when I was checking out that earlier, has put himself into 5th. And wonder what he could do potentially. Seems like he is not a slouch when it comes to the oval side of things. I'm watching Ove Trangrade come across the line. It looks like he's just starting his first flyer. Okay, so he's waiting quite a ways, and unfortunately he's only going to get 1 timed lap in because we've only got a minute left.
Yeah, so Uwe is leaving it all in the one card. I wonder if it's going to be faster to do 1 lap or 2 laps around here, because I'm figuring out it might be 2 due to the way Lotus 49's tires work, but it might be different on an oval, or maybe Uwe is just not that worried about qualifying, because as said, it might be back racing. And oh, here comes Togo Hisada. Wow.
Well, you said that second lap seems like the money lap, and I'd say Togo seems to think so. Shedlick goes onto the front row, knocking Bill Tyler and Topi Kortaniemi out of there. Let's see who else still needs to qualify. Trangarade 53-1, and that is going to get him into 7th, so at least a top 10 start for him. Just about 10 seconds left. Laus Olsen should have enough time to cross the line, but I think he might be the last one. And a 53-3 is good enough for 14th for him. And indeed, that is the last of our qualifiers. Togo Hisada will start on the pole here today. Jim Shedlick will be trying to challenge him on 2nd with Bill Tyler in P3. Topi Kortaniemi does manage 4th, at least, despite a 22 next to his name today. Valenteus will be in 5th with Rob Olenek P6 and Ove Trangarade 7th. On the outside of that row, it is Rob Swindell. You've got Chris Murakami starting 9th, and David Prela will round out your top 10.
And then in 11th position, it will be John Olson ahead of, or alongside Robert Plumley, I should say. Javier Sanchez 13th with Laust Olsen 14th. Then we got Colton Conover in 15th place and Masato Shimizu in 16th. Couple of Japanese drivers out here today. Great to see that. Emmanuel Pereira 17th, Borja Cazzo 18th, Janos Modos 19th, and Nicolas Morelli rounding out your top 20.
Michaela starts 21st. Metachitsits starts in 22nd. Then it's Seb Alexander in the 23rd spot. Brad Fenley will be in 24th. And Spitzmuller rounds out your 25-car field here today. It did split. It is a popular one here at Indianapolis, which certainly makes my heart sore, as this place is special to me. But this is the best of the best, the cream of the crop, going to be racing here today underneath the shadow of the pagoda. And we will get a single pace lap before they are released by the iRacing pace car. Interesting to note, though, it is going to be a race with no cautions from what we understand. So if you have problems, there's nothing to save you to catch up to the pack if you manage not to have any damage. And speaking of, you said it earlier, Ozzy, the pack is really going to be an important part. Staying up with that lead group will be critical if you hope for victory.
Yeah, it's going to be a balancing act of trying to pass in the corners and improve your position, but don't try to make the pack too racy, because if you make the pack too racy, you're going to lose the guys in front of you. So it's going to have to be a balancing act. I think it's going to be a strategic race, but there is always 1 or 2 guys, you know it. In racing situations, there's always 1 or 2 guys who, as soon as they put that helmet on, they're going to forget all about strategy. They're just going to mash the throttle and go all into the business for themselves. And that's going to definitely throw a spanner in the works for those who are maybe looking for a relaxed first 35 laps and settling in the last couple of laps. But it's gonna be definitely something different this time around, and I'm all for it.
Same here. And this hopping over to an oval is no stranger, and probably the past couple years, I'd say at this stage, the Lotus 49 community has elected to add at least 1 oval to the schedule. And Indy, of course, is not a shocker, as that one tends to be relatively popular for this car. They've done it a few times. So the drivers should at least be somewhat familiar. Plenty of them have been doing this here and there, but some might be a little bit green here on the circle tracks. We'll see as we take a look at the weather, which is relatively cool and a little bit of wind, but the wind, unlike with the winged cars here, shouldn't be as big of an issue. It won't knock them around quite as much, especially in the corners, and it won't be as sensitive. But Togo Hisada takes a pole. Can he make it into a victory here? His first of the season if he manages to do so. The pace car is in. And Hisada is on it early. Green flag is out here at Indianapolis and immediately slotting in behind him. Shedlick trying to pull the slipstream as they're looking at 3 wide behind him for third place. Looks like a little bit of a lift from Courtiniemi. He doesn't want to try and risk that on the very first lap. Around the outside, Bill Tyler has a bit of a run, but then loses it in the second half of Valateus runs into third.
And we are clean all the way through the field. Everybody making it through turn number 1, and looks like everybody's making it through turn number 2 okay as well.
Wow, that slipstream is powerful today. Shedlick is by, and Valateus is going to try for both of them, but he runs out of speed before they hit turn 3. Looks like Togo Hisada going to fight him on the outside of that turn, but it doesn't pay dividends down into 4. I think there was a little look from Andreas, and he didn't quite take it. Now he gets another shot.
It's going to be very, very close. Let's see here. He's going to go to the inside, and Togo Hisada, Tim Shedlick is going to lose that lead. Oh, he's not. He's actually carrying more speed around the outside. So Audrius is going to have to go for a long battle. He's gonna try it again in turn number 2, but once again no cigar here, even with these cigar-shaped cars. So Audrius gonna fall back into line with Hisada in P number 3 and Bill Tyler in 4, and this is going to keep the pack nicely together.
We've already had our first wreck. Zazo and Alexander had coming together in turn 3 as we once again swap the lead. Shedlick around the outside. Valateus trying to run it side by side through 3 and 4. And look at this. The number 2 certainly seems to be able to handle himself, keeping the momentum up as he almost loses it, getting very close to the outside wall off of 4. That's going to give Audrius the lead, and behind them Hisada lifts a little bit, not only to take it 3 wide.
No, not at all, and fastest laps are evolving all the time as they are being gathered by those who can get the draft but don't have to lift, and the pack is still nice and tight together. Jim Shedlick holding on to that lead, seeming to like the outside early on, and Audrius is just gonna look to the inside in his bright blue, sky blue helmet, and he will try and figure out a way of how to get past Shedlick, but so far not good. But he's looking even more to the inside, hitting the apron a little bit, getting a little bit wiggly, and that might just be the trick that nets him the lead of this race.
Wow, modern IndyCar, take note. I love the speeds with the wings, but this is incredible. Nothing like we've seen in the past with this car as they go 3 wide and shooting the middle. That is Olenek getting up to the point for the first time with a brave move. Valateus getting into second. Shedlick will be third. But this is real pack racing because they have been side by side at the front for a couple of laps now.
Yeah, and Olenek, what a move, and what a move so early, and here comes Audrius once again. Shedlick was thinking of a move but decides to fall back, so it's gonna be the leading trio who are swapping positions, and Rob Olenek was the guy who was the first to go 3 wide, but I don't think he'll be the last to go 3 wide, Joe, because that seems to be the way to go here. These straights are certainly wide enough, and so are these corners.
Unbelievable stuff, and down to the inside, Shedlick with another launch. And are we going to see 3 wide for the lead yet again? Yes, we are, as Olenek is going to try the outside, but he lifts. Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Contact into the wall. Can we see Audrius save it? He does somehow, but Olenek down into the grass. Thankfully, everybody avoids.
Oh, Olenek, he went for a ride that was very, very wild, and, well, he's out of the race, and I think there would be damage to Audrius's car as well. That was a wild one, and, well, somehow, when you go 3 wide so early on, it's not inevitable, but it's something that's certainly in the cards.
It was a risk everybody knew was there. I would love a replay on board Audrius. I don't know how damaged he is from that contact, but that was a magnificent save to keep him in the race.
Certainly was, and he is still at least in the pack. He seems to be right outside the 10th position right now. He is 10th actually, so he is still holding on, and there's another wreck. another wreck, and there's another car. David Presley and Topi Korteniemi. Korteniemi is upside down, and David Presley involved in that one as well. Oh no.
Yeah, that started with Prela getting into the back of Korteniemi, and the two of them just couldn't save it like we saw before. Down the back stretch as a couple cars pack out. We're going to look at the replay. This is the first incident, and my goodness, yeah, this is. I'm looking forward to the day that they get the new tire model, or the new damage model rather, on this car. As that just was an incredible tumble, hitting that outside wall.
Yeah, he was pretty much put on the tumble program at 1,200 rounds per minute, and making sure those clothes are all washed up. And so is his race. And here we see the onboard you wanted to look for. Look at that save.
Actually, incredibly calm. Just cranked the wheel, and as soon as it caught, he was back rolling.
Yeah, and he just pretty much went like full lock, and something we call a shoulder lock didn't affect him. So he went full lock, but not over it, and then just saved it, rolled out the speed, trusted the banking, and here we see the second wreck as well with Korteniemi involved in that one. He's the car that's gonna stay on his side upside down, and that was Laust Olsen, I believe, was the other driver involved. So those two pretty much out of the race early on, and we got Jim Shedlick in the lead, Togo Hisada in second, and Bill Tyler rounding out the podium so far, even though on ovals we don't actually have podiums.
We still call it the podium. Sanchez takes the fastest lap, which is interesting because he's dropped back a bit. I wonder if he's feeling enough of that slipstream effect that he could catch them. I thought maybe we've got a breakaway here. And for the first time in pretty much the entire race, most of the field is single file, but the lead is going to swap hands again. I think that was a lift from Shedlick. I wonder if they're starting to settle into this one, figuring it might as well work together to get to the finish.
I mean, yeah, they saw all the cars being scattered around them. They saw all the brakes and figured out that they don't want too many people into this. And I get it. That is the clever strategy. Don't let anyone else get involved into this. Break away and then fight for the win later on. So we got a temporary truce between the leaders, I do believe, as Hisada yields the inside as well, allowing Shedlick to take the lead. Bill Tyler is involved in that one. Javier Sanchez, however, he was still 2/10 faster than the leaders last time around, so he is definitely catching, and he might be pulling Murakami along with him, but at least Sanchez is one of those guys who is definitely looking for that win and looking for the prospect of getting back into that top 3. And Audrius is another guy who is very fast right now, so thankfully there is no damage for the, I believe, Lithuanian driver.
Yeah, Valenteu's just set the fastest lap of the race. The car we saw pop into the inside was Ove Trangerade, who is very loose coming off of 4, drifts very high, but manages to keep it out of the barriers. He's sitting in 9th place currently after starting from 7th, so hasn't made a whole lot of inroads up through the field. Is certainly in quite a battle. That is with John Olsen and Swindells just in front of him.
Yeah, and that fight is for 8th, 9th, and 10th. We see John Olsen, Uwe Trengrad, and Rob Swindells fighting for those positions, and they are just holding on to the pack right now. But ahead of them, it's Audrius looking to make up positions. You can see it just in front of your screen. Audrius Valenteius looking to get alongside Chris Murakami, who is getting a little bit loose on the outside, and that's going to allow Audrius to make the move last second, as Chris had to lift in order to avoid hitting that outside wall. And that's something that's very easy to do when you get the draft show and when you get a proper run. You're coming into the corners faster than you're used to, and you have to brake really early with these cars because the brakes are essentially made out of cheese. So you have absolutely no brakes, and you have to lift early. You're doing something close to 200 miles an hour, and even the concept of racing around here, going 2 wide, 3 wide, it's absolutely terrifying.
It looks terrifying, but I have to say, I am loving this, and I really would love to see modern IndyCar maybe rip the wings off and see what it'd be like racing something like this with better safety. And Bill Tyler going to get into second now as he goes by Togo Hisada. Sanchez has indeed caught them, and he is bringing along Valenteus with him. Adrius is not giving up on this win.
No, he is not at all, and what a comeback story that would be. He was all the way outside top 10. He was involved in a wreck. He saw his compatriot, his fellow racer, tumbling upside down in a horrible wreck, hitting the catch fence and being out of the race. And Adrius was like, right, when I see others lifting, I just push the throttle further in, and he's looking to catch back up to that pack. And he's still got 25 laps to plan those moves. And alongside Sanchez he goes. And I think Sanchez also realizes that this is the man I do not want to race too much with. This is a man who's going back into the lead, and he knows his time will come later. But Sanchez is able to hold on to that position for now. But you can see how strong the draft is, and so far I'm not seeing any evidence of damage with Adrius' car.
Valenteus, no wonder he's got that number one, as he's got an over 5K I rating here on the oval side, and Sanchez going to lift a little, let him through. I think he saw the writing on the wall and knows it's better to maybe follow his coattails through the others in front of him. Could offer a path to the top spot, or at least second place, and then he could try and fight with that number one machine. Now through turn 2 onto the backstretch once again. We're already to lap 13 here. Little weave to the inside for some of our cars here in the mid-pack, but then they get back into the racing line.
Yep, and while we are watching the leaders and we are watching the leading pack, can I give a shout out to the man in 6th position looking to hound Sanchez right now, because that, I believe, is a very familiar gentleman to both of us.
6th position, Robert Plumley there, it looks like.
Yes, and Plumley is doing a very good race so far. He's actually looking to get back into 5th, and Sanchez lifting, so he will.
Yeah, Plumley has come up from 12th on the grid, now to 5th place with the number 14 on his car. I'd say he needs to do a little bit more oval racing, because he certainly looks rather comfortable out there today, as the top 4 are going to come together out of turn 2, including Shedlick making a move to the inside of Bill Tyler, and he's going to pull along Hisada, maybe Valenteus as well. Nope. Valenteus is using that discretion. He gets out of it. Tyler doesn't lose second place. Hisada settles into third.
Adrius had a wonderful slingshot there, and he was almost looking to execute the move, and then at the last second he decided, no, I'm gonna take the outside, and we go kinda too wide, too deep for a moment. But as we come to the main straight, once again, you can see Adrius is the one benefiting most from the draft. I don't see Hisada going as fast on a straight line as Adrius is. Even with the draft, should be benefiting both of them. And Adrius looking to the inside and taking that third place away from Togo Hisada. Our pole sitter Plumley still holding on to the back of the pack, and Chris Murakami is now in 6th. So Sanchez is dropping back a little bit right now. I wonder if he's just calming down and biding his time, or if he has an issue as we have a fight for the lead again.
Indeed, these passes are looking way measured compared to what we saw earlier on, although now we're starting to get some side-by-side battling. Otherwise, many of them... as we have an incident in the back. This is the 17. Looks
John
like,
Olsen.
John Olsen. And unfortunately, well, thankfully he's going to be able to get out of the way, but unfortunately, I think he got some damage out of that.
Yep, and meanwhile we are 3 wide for the lead. If we go, well, we were momentarily 3 wide for the lead, but Togo Hisada once again deciding to drop out of that fight, which is probably, well, discretion is the better part of valor, I would say.
Still, they never fail to make a fool out of me. As I just say, I think everybody is being a little bit more calm up at the front with their passes, and suddenly they start to erupt here as Bill Tyler is once again going to manage to get under Valenteus. Valenteus struggling to try and take the victory around the outside, but looking underneath him, Shedlick poking his nose. He's given space. High side doesn't necessarily seem to be the worst spot. It's not too good around turn 4, but look at the shot off the corner by the number 1.
Yep, and Valentius looking to take that second place. Look at the draft Plumley is getting behind him. Plumley has lifted himself up to fourth place ahead of Togo Hisada in that beautiful Honda replica livery that he is sporting out there today. Certainly one of my favorite looking cars. And Bill Tyler still in the lead ahead of Jim Shedlick. And this is feeling like proper racing and proper fighting now. They are going back to single file, and now a lot of it rides on Shedlick. He will decide to fight this, okay? Because if it would have been me, I would have maybe tucked him behind and seeing how aggressively they fight behind me. But okay, Jim Shedlick wants to lead at Indy, and who can really blame him? In front of 250,000 people, 400,000 in total attendance, I would want to lead here too.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I've been in the crowd when it's a packed house, and it is something to behold. As down to the inside, Valentius managing to slip by Bill Tyler. The two Americans have been two of the main contenders up at the front, along with the Lithuanian here. They've also got Plumley hailing from the UK and I, trying to do a little bit of a Graham Hill here. And, well, unfortunately, that exit off of turn 2 is not going to be very Graham Hill-like as he falls backwards.
Yeah, he is falling backwards with roughly 20 laps to go. Still we are only halfway through this race, mind you, so it's only gonna get crazier from here on out, and I would say anyone in the top 9 is still within a shot of winning this event, maybe more, depending on what happens here in this pack. But so far we are halfway through. I would say it's Valentius who's looked strongest so far. The Lithuanian driver certainly on a roll here. He's just looking that little bit faster, that little bit braver than everybody else.
Trying to rack my brain for real-world Indy stats, and I'm pretty certain there hasn't been a Lithuanian driver ever in the field, so I'm sure he is flying that flag proudly here in today's race. Down to the inside goes Hisada once more. Japan certainly has had good representation lately here with
yes.
2 wins on the board finally. That was something to watch. I felt that was pretty cool getting to see that in my lifetime. The first ever Japanese winner at the track. And out of turn 4, Hisada trying to match that as he gets a good run. Does he try and take the move? He's going to poke his nose on the inside of Tyler.
Yep, and he's gonna look for the move. Let's see if he can pull that off. Not so far. He is a little bit too far to the inside, but let's see what happens here as they exit turn number 2. He should have the shorter run on the inside, but we know the runs one can get around the outside, and they are absolutely dead even. And they are too deep, too wide. Once again, Hisada on the inside in row number 2, and Bill Tyler round the outside. He tries, and still no decision made for the race lead. We got Audrius on the inside taking the shorter run and getting a good exit now, and should be able to clinch it in turn number 4. He does. Shedlick moves back to the line behind him. Togo Hisada in P number 3. Bill Tyler in 4th place. And once again, we are side by side for the lead.
And let's not forget about those behind them. They certainly seem to be able to keep up with them, but not making moves like this group up at the point. Are they biding their time? Are they waiting for a snipe towards the end? As it is Shedlick back at the front. Valentius in 2nd. Little look underneath from Togo Hisada. Decides to lift. That's going to give momentum to Tyler to his outside.
Yep, and those guys are still resuming the battle. And you know, you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned the Japanese racing drivers, and you mentioned Takuma Sato winning twice here in Indy 500. Can you imagine this race, just watching this race, but with the Japanese commentary? Because I did watch the last couple of laps, and they were going absolutely ballistic.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I've seen the clip of them commentating on the time that he nearly won and unfortunately spun on the last lap. And they get passionate as we see these drivers get passionate about trying to make overtakes into turn 1 once again. Hisada can't get it over Bill Tyler that time. Plumley poked his nose a little bit, then backed out of it. We're down to 16 laps to go now. And as you mentioned before, the top 9 all still in with a shout here today.
Yep, and Oh, and here we go once again, the Lithuanian looking to the inside, trying to challenge Jim Shedlick, and he seems to be liking that inside today, but so does Shedlick prefer the outside line, and we are getting some lapped cars as well. Seb Alexander going to be in front of him, getting the blue flags and hopefully getting out of the way in a nice and orderly fashion, because that is certainly something. Oh, yep, we are. Wow.
3 wide behind them. That is Plumley down on the inside, who's trying it underneath Hisada and Tyler, but I don't think he can get it done completely. Hisada, carrying the speed, is going to fight back, is in front of them. Valenteus overtaking Shedlick. We asked whether or not some of them were holding back. Well, they've decided it's time to make the move there, and making the move for the lead once again. Audrius taking the number 1 up to P1.
He is, and he is now on the outside, so they have switched positions. Lapped car now right ahead of him. Seb Alexander hopefully getting out of the way as we go back to single file with Jim Shedlick in the lead, and then it's Adrius and Togo Hisada on the outside, and on the inside of him we do have Robert Plumley, who has now lifted himself up to P number 3. So the UK drivers certainly on a roll here. We must remember they were very, very much on a roll in real life in the mid-late 60s.
Oof, I was kind of making some comments there in the background because Alexander was trying to get out of the way, but we had 3 wide behind him, Trangrade making moves, and he had to lift big time, as unfortunately the lapped car really made it almost impossible for them to try and battle into the first turn. That separated things slightly. I don't think this is going to be permanent. In fact, I see a lot of drivers working together this time, just kind of staying in line, trying to reel our leaders back in.
Yep, and they are fighting very well, and there's also, mind you, it's not just the leaders that are fighting. We also have fights all around the racetrack, and as this seems to be single file for a moment, Joe, I do believe we should be looking back 12th place on with Janos Modos and Mikko Mäkelä and those guys, because they had some good battles earlier on as well.
Indeed, I see Pierre going to be overtaken by Olsen here potentially. Wow, good to see Olsen be able to get back into this. I thought for sure that he would be limping around a bit, but seems to have not too badly damaged of a machine. That'll put him into 14th.
Yep, and well, certainly out of the leading battle. I think that's pretty safe to say with 12-13 seconds behind at this point, and no worries about fuel either. But here we see, looking to the inside is Pereira, looking to make a move, but not quite pulling that one off. Good battles here, and Modos, Mäkelä, Olsson, Pereira, and Shimizu as well. Masato Shimizu in this 5-car pack fighting for the 12th position.
Off of turn 4 once again, and as we come back to our leaders, because Valenteus looking at the outside of Shedlick, and behind them they have definitely caught them, but they're going to stay single file watching to see how this pans out. I think that looks like Robert Plumley with a great launch and a 3-wide move for the lead.
Almost 4.
That is a huge run for him. He takes both of them easily and gets up to the point.
Well, according to his surname, he certainly got the plums today, because he went 3 wide for the lead on the back straight, and he was never looking like he'd lift. And Jim Shedlick looking to take a great run back to the main straight, while Valenteus has dropped back just a little bit, allowing Togo Hisada to go on the inside of him. So we are 2 deep, 2 wide once again. Let's see how Plumley can hold on to this, because we got 10 laps to go, and he's certainly in the leading battle. He's a long-time racer, but I don't ever remember him being, and I'm gonna word this nicely, a particularly winning racer. So it certainly could be a Cinderella story for Robert Plumley out here on the Indy Oval today.
Yeah, he's going up to 2nd place now, and he's only got a 2,000 I rating on the oval side. So again, I say, Robert, if you're listening to this afterwards, go run some more ovals, bud, because you certainly seem to be pretty handy here. And as he comes around to try and chase down Shedlick, they got to be a bit concerned. They don't want him to get away because he's pulled a gap. They should be able to use the slipstream to get back into it. And as you said, he's brave here today, but is he smart? If I was Robert, I'd be taking notes on that move that he had, exactly how far back he was, because the slipstream timing was perfect for that move to get to the front.
It was absolutely brilliant, but what I'm concerned about is that he can run very well on the slipstream and take runs, but he doesn't seem to be fast enough to catch up to Jim Shedlick into the corner, so Togo Hisada is now going alongside him, and Hisada has to fight this, otherwise they take the risk of losing the leader, because Shedlick is now looking to break away, and Hisada takes the second place, and now he is hoping that Plumley doesn't come back immediately after, because he wants to catch up to that lead. Mind you, Togo Hisada was the pole sitter, so we know he's got the pace, and he's being calm. He's been very, very, very calculating throughout the first 30 or so laps, almost 30 laps of this race. Is it now the time that Togo Hisada strikes and looks to make his move in order to get this race win?
I think it is. I think once he's able to catch the gearbox of Shedlick, he's got to start trying to get himself in the position he wants. But as we said before, it is all about the timing. And speaking of timing, someone with a run back there, I think that is Sanchez trying to return a little bit higher up the order. He slipped back. He didn't need to be up at the front all the time, but he's seeing the drivers at the front starting to get away. He's got to hustle and see if he can get himself also into position off of turn 4 around the outside of Plumley, with Murakami to his inside. Thinking about 3 wide for a brief moment. That's Bill Tyler now. Tyler going to go on Murakami down into the first corner, but a little lift.
Yep, so not wanting to commit to that, but still Tyler looking to the inside into turn number 2 on Murakami. And getting a great entry and managing to clear Murakami. And that is super important because he now can pull back into the draft train. Sanchez looking to make his moves as well. And we are 2 wide for the lead once again. And it's Hisada versus Shedlick. And, well, I hope neither of them will end up licking any sheds and instead staying right here on the racetrack. Oh, that's Spa-Francorchamps, not Indianapolis, where you can actually end up in a shed. You can ask Jackie Stewart all about that. But Audrius Valentius back in P number 3 as well, so we are back in the common running order for the lead, I would say. These 3 guys who have been out there at the front all day long, they are still here.
Side by side for the top spot, and Hisada is not giving up on it. They're bringing along Valentius. I think he's the threat that they need to worry about because he certainly is savvy on these ovals, but he's going to fall back into second. Hisada decides not to fight Shedlick too hard there. He's timing the run, and, well, I thought he had a better one, but I almost thought he lifted for a moment. And no, he's not seeming to go for it.
No, not at all, and that means they are still staying nice and together, maybe trying to break away a little bit from Plumley and Co. back there. No, that there's no chance because they are so close behind them. Plumley and Bill Tyler and maybe Chris Murakami as well. Togo Hisada now looking to take the lead away from Shedlick once again, but these seem to be draft passes. He seems to be timing them at the end of the straight and hoping for a little bit more cooperation, which he is not getting from Jim Shedlick, who just wants to hold on to that lead. Fair enough.
And behind them, it is getting very tightly packed now. Everybody should be able to get enough of a slipstream to try and make a move. Oh, but look at some of them getting boxed in, and a monster run down to the bottom from Ove Trangrade as well. Behind him, somebody at the very back. I think that's Sanchez getting a huge launch. Almost looks like 10 to 12 miles an hour faster than those around them.
Yep, and he is looking to make those moves. Certainly the accomplished streamer, Javier Sanchez, who is very, very much still in the victory fight, and he is looking to time this to the absolute last laps, but he doesn't quite get the run on the inside, even if he is following the draft of Valentius, who is now fighting for that second place, trying to get past Togo Hisada himself. Hisada on the outside, and it is Valentius on the inside, taking that position away. Behind them, Trengarade and Plumley, Tyler and Sanchez and Murakami as well in this pack, as is Rob Swindles. Rob Swindles in 9th place. He's been very calm. I don't think we've mentioned him once in this battle, but he is still right there as we are looking to get crazier and crazier in these final laps. And Joe, I'm taking bets. Who's going to win this one?
Oof. Honestly, I would not put it against Valenteus. We've seen him run phenomenal races here in the ovals on the Lotus 49. So he's my call, and we're going to be 4 to go. What about you?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of want to say Uwe Trengereit. Because he's now in 3rd place, and he's now in 4th place, excuse me. So many cars, I'm getting them all mixed up. He started in 7th. He's been kind of quiet early on in this race, and now he's just looking to catch up, and he has the experience. Mind you, Jim Shedlick is also looking very, very strong here today, so I wouldn't put it past him to win this race, but we're going to see soon. We don't have too many laps left.
Yeah, and Ove is a gutsy driver, so I'm pretty certain he's going to be willing to risk it out here today. As right now it is Valenteus leading as they come around to take 3 to go now. And Trengereit going way high into turn 4. He's going to reel it back in. Oh, into the wall goes Bill Tyler. He slaps the barrier, and that might be the first victim of this front group to push it a little too hard.
Yeah, he's dropping back now, and that caused also Swindles and Murakami to lift a little bit. They dropped a second back or so from the pack, actually 6/10 back from the back, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they can catch back up to it. And while the leading sixtet of cars is trying to get away, Robert Plumley in the tail end of that one. Shedlick still in the lead with 3 laps to go, and looking to make moves is Hisada, and so is Sanchez on the inside of Trengereit. So side by side once again, 2 deep, 2 wide, not for the lead but for our 2nd place, and Togo Hisada now taking that one and looking to get back up to Shedlick and looking to time his move. Put in the time, and just, I mean, it's all about timing, isn't it, Joe? And he's now trying it. Look, he tried if he can time it to the line, and the result is he couldn't. It was still Shedlick ahead of Hisada by 1.5 hundredths of a second to the line. So they're testing the timing out of turn number 4.
Yes, they are. And you got to wonder who is going to be able to position themselves, because you got to think farther back than that. As there's a great move from Valenteus, and oh my goodness, they're going to go 3 wide with Sanchez in the middle. At one point, he was up to 203 miles an hour last time by. This time, not quite as fast, but certainly looking mighty quick. I was going to say, where in the world do you place the car here coming up to the white flag? Because you got to put yourself into 2nd into turn 4, but how do you get there?
Oh, and slaps the wall is Shedlick, and he's gonna bounce back to the inside, and he almost, no, hold it, no, there's a massive wreck in the background. Oh dear heavens me, someone divided by 0.
Sanchez got involved, and looks like it was Chris
Shedlick still rolling.
The other one, but up at the front, Hisada now leads. Valenteus is in the prime position. He's in P2. Trengereit, I think he's a little too far back. He had to try and avoid some of that wrecking. That could have cost him. Valenteus not taking the move. He likes where he sits right now. Here comes Trengereit. He's not too far back. He has got himself a good slipstream, but can he get the launch to try and snipe both of them? He falls back a little bit. Is he setting them up? Off of turn 4, Valenteus looking for the launch. He gets it right up to the wall. He's got a good lot of speed. Is this enough speed, though? As they come to the line and getting ready to cross, he goes around the outside, but it's not enough. And it is going to be Togo Hisada taking the win.
Hisada! Wow! And there was absolutely nothing between them. 3 milliseconds, Joe. 3 1,000ths of a second between Togo Hisada and Audrius Valenteus for the lead here at Indy. Have you ever?
Banging wheels for the victory as the Japanese commentators go bonkers out there. Hisada has got to be beside himself. What a win. It is going to be Valenteus in 2nd, and Trengereit still manages to come home in 3rd behind them. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Have some water.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pulling a Takuma Sato and being a Japanese winner here at the famed oval. Togo Sato went from pole to victory here today, but it was by 0.003 of a second. Adrius Valenteus couldn't quite beat out that number 9 car, and he tried his darndest, and it came down to banging wheels at the end. And it just wasn't there. Trangarade, 0.2 of a second back, but a wonderful third as Robert Plumley, the UK&I driver, has found his legs here on the oval side as he finishes 4th from 12th. Swindells was a P5. Bill Tyler was 6th, falling down a little bit from 3rd. How about Laust Olsen, though, from 14th to 7th here today, and he was matched by Colton Conover, who went from 15th to 8th, the Ohio driver gaining 7 spots. Chris Murakami finished where he started in 9th, and Janos Motos finished in 10th.
And it's going to be Emmanuel Pereira in 11th place ahead of Richard Spitzmüller, who went from 25th to 12th. Then it's Nicolas Morelli, Masato Shimizu and Brad Fenley, and those are the drivers finishing on the lead lap. Then we have Sanchez and Shedlik, who finished 1 lap down each. They were in that lead pack, Javier Sanchez and Jim Shedlik, each in that fight until 1 lap to go. And then we go to our list of retirements, of which there were a lot, not quite as many as in 1966 when only 7 drivers finished, but we had this time 15 drivers finishing. And in the retirements we have John Olson, Seb Alexander, Mikko Mäkelä, then we got Manuel Matic, Topi Korteniemi, David Presle, Rob Olenik and Borja Tsatso as well, who I think never started the race or got caught out in lap number 1. But it was quite a race and quite an event for sure. Wow.
It was nonstop excitement, and Jim Shedlik unfortunately had a little bit too much excitement as he finished 17th, but he's here to talk to us after that late wreck. Jim, you were in the hunt for the win for pretty much that entire race. It came down to taking the white flag, and did you just get a little bit too high, or what caused that incident?
Yeah, it was a great race. A lot of fun racing all these drivers. It's always clean and fair, at least usually is. Yeah, in the last lap, I slipped up a bit off of 2. It kind of put me a little bit into the pack, and off of 4, I think it was just hard racing. The car on the inside kind of was moving up a little bit, and he left me plenty of room, but just reacting to that, just clipped the wall a bit, and got in from behind after that. So that was it.
Sad to see it wind up that way. Based on your 5K oval rating, I'm going to take a wild stab and say you're pretty familiar racing ovals, yeah?
Pretty familiar. It's been a little while. Used to race a lot of the NASCAR series kind of earlier on in iRacing, and more recently the Indy 500, which is very different than these cars around this track.
I'd say so, but you still fared very well. This is a pretty regular thing in the Lotus 49s that they'll try and put one oval into the schedule. Since you've had such experience on the oval side, what's one that you'd love to see the drivers tackle here in these 49s?
Oh man, that's a good question. I've heard that's I think Milwaukee is a pretty good one. I've heard some drivers say I think they've raced that in the past. I think any track like that that's kind of wide and fast, but still pretty tight corners would be pretty fun. I think Indy, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of drafting. It's really hard to defend your position. So I think like a flatter track like a Milwaukee would be pretty fun.
I've seen them race there before, and it is fantastic to watch. Well, Jim, commiserations. Will we see you back for the next round when we head to Long Beach, another very punishing course?
I believe so. That one's going to be a huge challenge. Definitely qualifying will be the thing to watch, I believe, at Long Beach.
No doubt about that. Well, that was Jim Shedlick, and unfortunately finishing a lap down in 17th today after vying for the win. It doesn't look like we've got anybody else to talk to, unfortunately. Oh, no, we did get Topi Kortaniemi in, so why don't we let a Finn talk to a Finn about how this race went?
Oh yes, you want a completely quiet interview, that's fine. Did we come here to talk or did we come here to race? Topi Kortaniemi, your race certainly didn't last as long as you wanted to, getting caught out early on. Did you think that you would have had a chance to win if you would have been able to keep it on track for longer than, 5 laps?
I would have expected like a top 5, something like that, but it's just a shame because this is the first time I properly had a practice for an oval race, and I really want to race in a proper field. I only had one with like 10 cars, and it was really fun until the contact. So, yeah, it's a shame. I really started to like the ovals and maybe had the pace. But, yeah. But it'll be close from the championship now that Uwe got third, I think.
Yeah, definitely giving a challenge for the last couple of rounds. Before we go to the next round at Long Beach, I just want to ask you, do you have any oval experience? Because I don't remember seeing you in the Finnish oval leagues, and you don't seem like the kind of driver who has done much at oval prior to this. So is your oval experience essentially the necessary street stock races, or is there something more in your background?
I think I've done like 4 street stock races before this and 1 race earlier this week.
Okay, so not too much at all. Well, you might want to try out that oval practice because it can be fun, as we saw here today. And I swear, it doesn't always end up in a wreck. So how about Long Beach next week? It's a punishing street circuit with walls very close. Topi, how do you think you'll fare on there?
I'm going to win.
Oh, well, wow. That's some confidence. That's some nice confidence. And what makes you say that?
I did well at Belle Isle, and that setup was so good that, I don't know, I'm going to win.
Okay, fair enough. So Topi Kortaniemi saying he's going to win next week. We'll make sure to keep that one in mind in case you come second. And before we let you go, I'm just going to, for the benefit of our Finnish viewers, of course, we are both capable of talking Finnish, so I'm just going to ask you for a couple of words in your own language, please.
Kaikille kavereille terkkuja ja varsinkin eiliselle pikkujouluporukalle.
Okay, fair enough. So Topi Kortaniemi is sending greetings to all his friends, especially to Uwe Trengeride, who he's gonna put into the wall next week. No, I'm just kidding. He's he sent greetings to yesterday's bunch of buddies as well. He had something called a little Christmas, which can be a wild event, but thankfully he is in a racing condition today. And thank you, Topi, for the interview, and good luck next week.
Thanks, Joseph.
So, Topi Kortaniemi there, and Joe, I believe that's it for today's interviews.
Yes, for real this time, as I don't see anybody else waiting in the wings. So we want to thank the Lotus 49 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But also we want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work, including a new single she just released. Thanks to the team today, Ozzy, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. There is a link in the description below for that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because as you heard us talking about, Long Beach is next, and we have some confident drivers going into that one. That'll be Saturday, November 20th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And up next, we have the Camel Series coming up at Mosport. That'll be at noon Eastern, so definitely mark that one down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.